Lord, I bow down before you. I was lost in despair, but nobody knew, 'cause I smiled through it all. And I constantly pray to you. I needed a kind word, a smile or a hug. I needed to know that somebody loved me, 'cause I felt so all alone. But lo and behold,
in the midst of it all,
in the midst of it all,
you encouraged my soul.
Yeah, you did.
So I won't let go.
I won't let go. I'll just keep
holding on.
Keep holding on. In the
midst of it all,
right in the middle,
you encourage my soul.
That's what your word
so
did.
I won't let go.
Your word encouraged me.
I'll just keep
holding on. Holding on. So I stayed, Lord, in your presence, 'cause I believed you would hear me, but I didn't know you were already moving. Lord, you were there all along. Then you sent down your angels to lift my head up just a little higher. And that's when I knew you heard me, saw me, loved me. Yes, you did. And once again I regained hope in the midst
of it all.
Right in the midst of it all.
You encourage my soul, so I won't let go.
I won't let go. I'll just keep holding on. Whoa. In the midst
of it all.
In the middle of my mess, you began to bless.
You encourage my soul,
so I won't let go. I'll just keep holding on. Weeping may last all night, joy will come in the morning light, 'cause you never fail to supply my needs. And the more I prayed, the more I knew your love for me would see me through, and your favoring grace fell on me in the midst
of it all.
That's when it happened, yeah.
You encourage my soul,
so I won't let go. I'll just keep holding on to your unchanging hand. In the midst of it all, you encourage me, my whole soul.
So I won't let go. I'll just keep
holding on. In the midst
of it all,
ooh,
you encourage my soul.
I won't let go. I can't let go.
I'll just keep
holding on.
holding on in the midst of it all.
In the midst of it all,
You encourage my soul.
you encourage my soul. Can't let
Well, hello everyone. What an amazing day this is. Listen, I can't tell you how excited I am that you are tuned in to Midday Bible Study. That's right. I believe God has a word for you, but I need you to do me a favor. I need you to hit that share button. I need you to call, text, tweet, yell down the hallway and tell them they got to tune in right now. God has a word just for you. Let's go in and be blessed. Hey, this is, I hope that you are doing fantastic on this day and that you're experiencing favor like never before. Do me a favor. First of all, would you make sure you hit the share button? Make sure you are sharing this with as many people as you possibly can. Share it with your circle, your family, your coworkers. Make sure you share it so that we can spread this as far as possible. In today's session, I'm going to talk about how to identify unhealthy relationships in your life. Number 3, you know that you're in this unhealthy relationship that's not really conducive for who you are, who you've been called to be, or whatever your assignment, whatever your gift in, whatever you're supposed to be doing in life in terms of your purpose, is because they hold you responsible and accountable for their emotional instability. Now, hear me really well. If you are involved with someone who tends to blame you for their anger, their problems, their stress, and you find yourself in a place where you're always trying to defend yourself or trying to be understood, newsflash, they're never going to get it. Now, I really hate to be the one that kind of breaks that to you, but the reality of the matter is if you're in any kind of relationship and you are the butt of the blame, right? Why you angry? Because you did this. Why you sad? Because you didn't do this. Why are you feeling this way? It's because of you. And you're in this unhealthy relationship that's dismantling your confidence. It's destroying your esteem about your ability to operate and process and maintain a relationship. And as long as they keep blaming you, then you spend the majority of the time in that relationship being consumed by trying to defend yourself for something you didn't do. He's blaming you. She's blaming you for what the person before you did. She's blaming you for what the father didn't do, right? And you're in a relationship where all you're doing is defending yourself and you are struggling just to be understood. And it's going to be mentally debilitating. It's going to be depleting on you. And the reality of the matter is sometimes, let me not even say sometimes, the majority of the times, the majority of the cases in relationship structures like this, it just doesn't work. Because hear me, when I'm not going to spend all of my time defending myself to you, to anybody, right? And I'm not going to be the butt of the blame. This is a person who has unresolved issues. This is a person who has bottled up emotions that will lash out at you for something that, again, you didn't do, but somebody else did. And because what you did remotely resembled that same pattern, now you are reaping the backlash from other people and from moments you weren't even in. But what I want to tell you, that the relationship is unhealthy whenever they have assigned you to be the individual that has to be responsible and accountable for their own emotional instability. I have enough weight on me to keep my emotional state in check without having to deal with the baggage and the blame of you telling me that I've got to be responsible for your emotional instability. And if you know individuals like that, I promise you, you watch them for a year, 3 years, 5 years, you will see they can never maintain a long-term relationship. And whenever the relationship ends, you can best believe it's never their fault. They never did anything. Nothing they did was ever questionable. it's always the other individual. And that kind of relational dynamic rarely has any hope of being successful because it's just not healthy from the start. The next thing I need you to understand when we're talking about identifying these unhealthy relationships in all of our lives, because they're there. Just because you haven't really paid close attention doesn't mean they're not there. But when you start surveying and evaluating these relationships that are in and around our lives, then you will begin to see perhaps I've been harboring some unhealthy relationships. I've been wondering why my spirit is always low when I come around them, and why I always get this feeling something is uneasy. It's because you have in your circumference, you have people around you who are unhealthy for your environment. Next thing that is critical is that the conflict and arguments are a common occurrence. Now, hear me when I say everybody who's in a relationship, who's ever been in a relationship, you understand that if you're in a relationship with anybody, you're going to have some conflict. No question about it. I don't care what the definition of the relationship is. There's going to be some conflict. There's going to be some disagreement. Of course, that's just the nature and the dynamics of merging with other individuals. Your personality, your background, your experiences, your history, your upbringing, meshing with theirs. Of course, there's going to be some conflict. But hear me when I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, your relationship, healthy relationships, were never supposed to be determined or defined by conflict or fighting or blaming each other or disastrous antics toward each other, right? Healthy relationships are not defined by conflict and fighting, although there's going to be some conflict, although there's going to be some days you get on her nerves, she gets on your nerves. There's going to be some days, listen, I just need to take a walk, clear my head. That's not abnormal. In fact, that is healthy. And if I had time to go into that, we would. But that's some healthy things to do in order to embellish and to undergird the relationship. But I mean, you have conflict every day. There's not a week that goes by where you don't have an argument or five. There's never a moment when you're on the same page, when you are in agreement with each other. There's never a moment when some compromise comes from you, compromise comes from the other person or individuals in your life. Because remember, ladies and gentlemen, it takes two people to argue, right? And somebody else's unreasonable or crazy behavior is never an excuse for you to do the same. There's nothing that is more irritated and frustrated than when somebody's trying to fight with you and you're not giving them any fight back. You know what I'm talking about. They're arguing, saying their piece, and this and that, and you're just there. You're like, and they become more enraged and more angry because you're not replying with the same degree of intensity or enragement as they are. And you have to watch it, because some people only feel alive when they're killing you emotionally, killing you with their words, trying to belittle you, trying to berate you, trying to talk down to you. And if you're in an environment or any kind of relationship where it seems to be characterized and seems to be defined by continual conflict, which means, incidentally, that if there's always conflict, that means no one's taking the other person's expression of what they like or don't like that serious, right? Because generally, when you have these kind of continual conflicts, it's about repetitive issues, right? So I told you I didn't like this. You told me you didn't like when I do this. And so at that point, I have to make the decision to modify my behavior, modify my speech, or adjust my actions so that it's very unlikely this will happen again. And so after we've discussed certain things and we still keep having the conflicts about the same things, one of us or both of us are not taking each other seriously. And again, that is a recipe for disaster. And it's also a clear-cut sign that what you're in or what you're even proposing to become or get yourself into is unhealthy. And you should avoid that at all costs. The next thing, as we're talking about really how to process and identify these unhealthy relationships, is because the bad is getting worse, right? All those things that were negative that we discussed, that we talked about, that we addressed with each other. Hey, this is I would rather you do this. I would rather you change this. And the things that were negative have not as of yet turned positive. What do? Because, ladies and gentlemen, the earmark of unhealthy relationship is that they're filled with negativity. Always negative. You're talking negatively to each other. You're talking about each other to other people negatively. And so you have this negative environment that you seem to be encased in. And if you're not careful, these types of relationships will bring out the worst in you. You probably know what I'm talking about because I know what I'm talking about. You get in certain relationships over the course of your life, and you can adapt other people's ways. You can adopt how they process and deal with others, right? And then you find yourself dealing with people just like they dealt with you, even though before you met them, you would have never done anything like that. You would have never handled anyone this way. You would have never talked to anybody in that kind of tone. But because you have assimilated, unhealthy relationships will always cause you to assimilate and adopt their bad habits, the way they treated you. And you find yourself, check this out, treating others the way you did not want to tolerate somebody else treating you. Have you ever done that? Have you ever, because when it's in your environment, it will subtly become a part of you if you don't recognize it and can't. I've heard people say, and even me, there were some things I heard my father say, or mother, or grandparent, whoever. And I say, man, I would never say that to my kids. And then you grow up and you say something to your child, and then something hits you in your head, and you say, oh my God, I'm doing just like they did to me, right? And so once you become aware of that, you can address it, and you can abandon any further line of behavior in that regard. And so you know you're in an unhealthy relationship because it's filled with negativity. There's always put downs, always criticism and insults, which incidentally is emotional abuse. And you'd be surprised how many people just tolerate it with the hopes that things are going to change and that they're going to get better. And then reality kicks in a few years later that not only did it not get better, in fact, it got worse. And so you're in an unhealthy, unproductive relationship that will not be sustainable long term when the bad just keeps getting worse. Nothing negative has been addressed. I can't look back and say, oh yeah, we changed this and this changed for the better now. And look at how much better we are at communicating. Look at how much better we are now at respecting each other. Look at how much better we are at listening to each other. And so whenever you are in those kind of relationships, ladies and gentlemen, please hear me, it's unhealthy. And it becomes your decision to employ every effort possible to see if we can change. Or have you tried all of them? Now have to make the decision, okay, this is done, right? For my own self-preservation, for my own state of mind and mental health, I have to get rid of these unhealthy relationships. How do I know this is an unhealthy thing for me? Hear this, because you start feeling worse about yourself and not better. Watch out for any relationship that does not make you a better you. Um, and that's critical for somebody who's looking at me right now. Because you remember there was a time you thought more of yourself than you do now. There was a time you were dreaming bigger than you are now. There's a time you were expecting more out of life than you are now. And what's the factor? Look at the relationships in your life and look at how many of them are imposing fear. Look at how many of them are causing you to reduce who you are just to maintain the company that you keep. What a tragic state of affairs it is for you to have to reduce who you are just to keep the company that you have. I hope for another day that you never allow yourself to be okay with dumbing down for another person another day in your life. You got to be in relationships that build you, not relationships that judge you, that make you feel bad about your experiences, bad about your past, because healthy relationships are about acceptance. They are about compassion again. They are about saying, listen, everybody has a past. Whatever you did, you did. Whatever I did, I did. But that does not give me a license to constantly throw that in your face, to use it to demean you, to demoralize you, to make you feel less than who you are. And so healthy relationships, ladies and gentlemen, always make you feel better. They make you want to be better. There is no better compliment, at least in my opinion. One of the great compliments that a woman can give a man that they're in a relationship with is, you make me a better person. I'm better because of you. I'm better because of your example, because of your impartation, because of your input in my life, because of your example. I'm better because of it. Everybody needs to be in a relationship that makes them feel better about themselves, that makes them see themselves in an elevated state, that makes them and allows them to see themselves like no one before them ever made them see themselves, right? You got to be in a relationship that that supports you at your core, supports your dreams, supports your values, pushes you to live up to the level of your capacity and potential. Not relationships that try to marginalize you and push you in the corner and relegate you to only being able to do one thing. You got to be in a relationship with somebody who thinks you're great and wonderful and spectacular. Otherwise, why are you here? Right? I got to be in a relationship. I require too much attention. I got to be in relationship with people. And there are people out there who have to be in relationship with individuals that are going to complement them, right? We just fit. We complement each other. We are compatible. And ladies and gentlemen, whenever you are in any kind of relationship where you feel worse about yourself than you feel better, then it's time to reevaluate that and decide, how much longer am I going to drag myself through this emotional massacre without expressing how much I care about myself? This is why I got to get out of this and do it pretty quickly to retain my sanity. And so you got to be aware of any unhealthy relationship that is around your life. How do I know it's unhealthy for me? Because here's one of the big ones, and it is that the focus is always on the other person. They're the star of the narrative of your lives together. And you play the supporting role, the background, not even supporting, an extra in the film. They're the headliner. They're the star. And the focus in that unhealthy relationship, the focus is more about changing the other person rather than working on changing themselves. You need to change. You need to do this. You need to do this. You should do this. I think you need to do that. I think you need to do that. That is a telltale sign that you're involved and that you're in a relationship that is unhealthy, right? Anybody who feels like they do not have to change, trust me, they're not for you. They're not for me. No matter what I think I know, I can know more, I can learn more. You cannot come to people feeling like you're in your final cut state and they're still in the edited state. You got to constantly edit them and edit them and edit them. But you're the perfect final cut. That's just not reality, and that's just not the recipe for any kind of successful relationship. In any mutually respected relationship, you don't want to try to mold somebody into your ideal person. That's the mistake a lot of people make, a lot of couples make. I counsel a lot of people, and you get them to by themselves individually. She's trying to make him this, he's trying to make her that, instead of understanding that you two are individuals and you have to honor, respect, and love what it is that you individually are, and then you have to bring that together to become the best version of yourselves together. It's not just about focusing on the other person. If there's anything that will contribute to chronic unhappiness in relationship, it is when your focus is always on changing the other person. You don't know what that does to their esteem, their morale, feeling like they don't measure up, or they'll never be able to measure up to what you want. And the reality of the matter is the relationship should be, the focal point of the relationship should be you two. Not this one, not that one. You're in the forefront, they're in the background. No. The focal point should be the relationship as the entirety. And so I know I'm in an unhealthy relationship when the focus is always about just that person wanting to change me or me wanting to change them. It should be a mutually understood, decided, talked about change that will happen with both of us, that will affect us as a unit together. Please hear me. Most people make the mistake of losing themselves trying to find someone else in the relationship. As much as you may think you need someone else, hear this, you need yourself more. Now, I want that to sink in, and I want you to remember that the rest of your life. As much as you and I even think we need someone else, and we do, the reality of the matter is you need yourself much more. So if you find yourself in relationships that stunt your growth and can only survive at the expense of your own emotional survival, it might be time to cut some losses, or to go into a place of clarity, a place where you need to reevaluate, can this be changed? What needs to happen for this to change? Am I willing to go through the process of what's necessary for the change to occur? Or am I going to simply just cut my losses? As I see this is not going to get any better without the right guidance or the right help. I'm not saying that it's totally lost. I don't know your individual circumstances, but what I am saying is that the decision has to be made. Am I going to change this, or am I going to cut my losses? Because I cannot afford to allow my emotional health, my mental stability, to be dangled at the end of an unhealthy relationship. Well, I'm out of time for this session. I hope you took some amazing notes. You can always go back and watch it over and over and over and over again. I suggest that you do it. It's going to greatly benefit you. Again, don't forget to share this. If you enjoyed this, make sure you share this. Make sure you call a few friends. Tell them, take 30 seconds, and I want you to go subscribe to this channel. That is really going to bless them, that is really, really going to benefit them. Don't forget to go to my website, henrybolden.com. Go to the store there. I've got books and products there that I think that is really, really, really going to benefit you greatly. And I want you to do that. Well, it's offering time, my friends, my partners from all around the country. It's time to give, to make investment, kingdom investment, sow seed into blessed soil that is sure to produce a significant harvest like you have never seen before. Again, let me, as always, thank all of you who continually support the work of God in this ministry, not just on Sundays or any other days, but you support it every single week. And for that, I want to thank you. On this day, I'm going to challenge everyone that's watching me this day. I want you to release your faith. I want everyone that's watching that will watch. I want you to release a $30 seed offering. That's right. I want you to invest a $30 seed offering into the ground. I believe, in fact, I know that a harvest is going to come that's going to be plentiful for you. Your days of scarcity are over. When we tap into the system of sowing into the kingdom of God, God's obligated. He obligates himself to bless us in supernatural ways. Those of you who are maybe tithing on this day, of course, I want you to return the Lord's tithe. Simply 1/10 of everything God puts into your hand. All of the giving means are right here at the bottom of your screen. Find the one that's the most convenient for you, and please take advantage of it. Thank you in advance for your generosity. May heaven smile upon you and bless you real good.
Family, didn't we enjoy the presence of God on today? I know service was just amazing. I know you felt the presence of the Lord right there, wherever you're watching us from. Right now, it's giving time, and we want to make sure that we sow into the man of God's life. He's been delivering a powerful word to uplift us and teach us and to encourage us, strengthen our faith. And now is your opportunity to participate in sowing a seed into the man of God's life. So easy to do. You can go to his personal cash app at $ Henry W. Bolden 3. Yeah, that's right, $ Henry W. Bolden 3. Or you can go to his personal website at henrybolden.com. Go ahead, sow a good seed into the man of God's life. God bless you.
Wow, can you believe our time is come and gone? Man, that was way too soon, but I trust you'll be here with me on next week. Yeah, I hope that everything that you've heard, every nugget, every bit of information is going to be beneficial to you and bless you for many, many, many days to come. Don't forget to tell someone to go back and watch the replay. Don't forget they can also comment and like and do all of those interactive things that I want you to do so that I know who we're ministering to and where we are ministering to you from. Don't forget to follow us on all of our social media platforms. You can send prayer requests. Go to my website, henrybolden.com. You can send praise reports, prayer requests, and I will respond to you. Well, I'm out of time for now, but always, as I say in parting, always remember that things can change for you at any moment. I'll see you next week.